Good
Will you
afternoon.
please tell us about yourself?
So my name is Dr. Issac Jose. I come from village Viyur, from Thrissur district in Kerala. I completed my MBBS in Jubilee Mission Medical College, Thrissur, and has been working as a medical officer at Sun Medical Center, Thrissur itself. My family consists of my father, mother, my elder sister, my wife, and my small dog, and myself.
Your hobbies?
So my hobbies are playing with my pet dog, as well as I have taken a profound interest in cooking healthy dishes for myself. Sir.
Only for yourself, not for your wife.
Sir, I started it as myself. My wife prefers a little Indian cuisines. I like to try it out from all across the world.
But having studied medicine, having worked in that field, why do you want to go into public administration, civil service?
Sir, my interest into public service started after my internship, where I met people with whom I interacted, and I saw that actually public policy helps them in a lot of ways. For example, I met a 9-year-old child who was having tuberculosis in the heart, and he was not gaining weight at all. He was still at 15 kilos, 16 kilos, whatever we give them. They were migrant family from Bengal, and during the COVID times they had to go back to Bengal. So our medicines did not have any profound effect on him. Later we went to his home. We understood his what are his surroundings. So they are just a member of a family of 4 members staying at a single room. So this is causing a lot of additional burden to him and an acute lack of nutrition also. We registered him in the Nikshay portal. He started receiving 500 rupees every month. We looked up to his nutritional diet. And after that, we found that he slowly started gaining weight. He did not relapse from his treatment. So this is the effect that public policy has on the health of individuals per se, as well as individuals on society. So I thought that by joining into civil services, we are not losing a doctor. In fact, we are adding a doctor, a person with health perspective, public health perspective, into public administration.
So,
Yes, sir. But Dr. Issac, it involves a lot of expenditure, avoidable expenditure for the society. When you go for a medical profession, there is an expenditure incurred by the society in creating a doctor or creating a civil servant. This much investment, in that sense, it goes waste. So how do you justify that?
Sir, I think it is a lot about perspective. Since a doctor is not a person who is probably narrowing his field of interest and activity into diagnosing and treating a patient. He has to diagnose and treat an entire society. Sir, allow me to give you an example. If I see a patient with chest pain and I know he has got some acute cardiovascular event, I am simply treating him. But imagine if I am a public health activist and I am into public administration, I bring in some policy changes that will help an entire society to get rid of their obesity. It not only increases the overall health of the society, it also brings down the expenditure that the exchequer has to bear to treat all these health outcomes. So in that sense, sir, I think the perspective is not about narrowing to a single person, but narrowing it, but expanding it to a society.
If that is the logic, then is it not better that we have a health minister who is a doctor, we have a PWD minister from the engineering branch, like that, because they are the ones who have the last word on the policy making?
Sir, the policy making field entirely is not something that one person can relate to. For example, even if the health minister is a doctor, it does not mean that he would have the broad focus that is required, since he is also into politics. So being a minister, it is a lot of political work and also a little bit of public work also. So this is where public health activists and public servants who have a broader health perspective comes into being. They are required to bring in policies, to suggest the policies. Ultimately, it is the minister. Secondly, sir, we cannot put such a we cannot put such a mandate, because the constitution, it gives universal adult suffrage, and there are no restrictions on who can stand for for the post of minister, who can govern. So in that sense, I think, sir, it would be better to have a lot of public servants with a broad focus on public health, who can help policy making, sir, positive policy making for society.
Dr. Isaac, you, while studying, you were part of a club which was dealing with the ethical issues.
Yes, sir.
I think medical profession has got a lot of ethical issues. Many unethical practices often come to light. What are the major issues according to your perception?
Sir, as a practicing doctor, I find that there is an issue of, first of all, there is an issue of unwanted prescriptions. Recently, we had a study from the Ministry of Health that around 80% of antibiotics are prescribed only for prophylaxis and not for treating the bacterial infection as such. So, unwanted prescription is one ethical issue. The second ethical issue is how there is a conflict of interest between the doctors as well as pharmacy industries. And then even at the policy level, sir, we find that the health policies, these are made by doctors alone. For example,
policies are made by doctors alone.
Sir, I do not mean about the society. For example, the regulation of the profession, it is by a this is by a group of doctors. There are no outsider perspectives into it. That is perhaps the reason why we do not have a lot of cases of these unethical issues coming out, because it is mainly dealt within the fraternity. There is not proper regulation. Then there is an issue of being a doctor in public service and doing private practice. There is an issue of performing unwanted investigations simply to up the financial outcome of the hospital we are working for.
Do you think there is a need for more rigorous legal enforcement or legal intervention on these issues?
Definitely, sir. I think we require a clear roadmap. We require a lot of self-regulation as well as external regulation in the form of very effective policies and statutes, sir.
Last question. COVID has been in the news for several years. Now again, that there is some issue of COVID coming. What exactly is that variant now causing the COVID?
So the variant has been named as JN1. But sir, this nomenclature is only a technical nomenclature. It is not something that we are not. It is not something that is going to take us by surprise, because the nature of COVID virus itself means it gets mutated every year. So we are looking at variants of interest and we are looking at variants of concern. The good thing about is that none of these strains are causing much problem, because we have a very good health infrastructure and most of the population are either.
Approximately how many variants have come?
Sir, I think there are too numerous variants to count. What is important is how much.
There is some count available.
Yes, sir. How much variants of concern have come? In that sense, I think around 20 to 25 variants have been reported in India alone.
Variants of concern.
Variants of concern, yes, sir.
25.
Around 25, but all these are sub variants of a larger variant. So the numbering may not be exactly similar when different agencies do it, sir.
Okay, one last question. You studied in Chinmaya institution.
Yes, sir.
What do you know about Chinmaya?
Sir, Swami Chinmayananda was the founder of the Chinmaya mission as well as a Vishwa Hindu Parishad. He was a person who brought in the idea that we have to catch people young to bring some positive transformation to society, and that is the basis of his Chinmaya mission, providing education, subsidized education and secular education.
What is he very popular for? No.
He is popular for his Gita chanting.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, let him take Ajith.
No problem. See, you are talking about public public policy and such. When we work, when we do the schemes, when you do the development initiatives, the citizens have grievances.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what are the methods of or avenues available for ordinary citizens to resolve their grievances with the government?
Sir, the grievance redressal mechanism is available across almost.
Can you give the
different-
name of a central government initiative?
So we have the CP grants.
Yes. What does it do, and what is the focus on this?
So the focus is to provide an interface between the government as well as the people, so they can register their complaint online also, and then there is I believe there's a timeline for it to be resolved, sir.
Okay. So when that digital facility is available, how do you relate that into the recent democratic exercise of the Chief Minister of a state taking the cabinet to the common man? Because already there is a digital, lifeline linked to the government for resolving the issues. So how do you read these two things together?
Sir, what I believe is that there should always be a personal touch to governance. Means the basic dogma of every government should be from office to the people. And in the presence of a huge digital divide, I think it is only ideal for the ruling apparatus to go to the people directly, because there are people who do not know how to probably register a complaint even. There are people who are not able to do that, and sometimes some issues, they are better represented in person rather than through a digital interface. So in such cases, I believe it is only apt for every public health, every policy maker to go to the people. We are moving from the office to the field. So I think it is, I'm seeing it in a very positive light, sir.
Okay. So if you look at the history of Kerala as such, we have something called matriarchal system, and it also has inherited to some extent the inheritance laws and all those things. What do you understand, and whether the rights of the people are equally balanced in this?
Sir, the inheritance, it is mainly governed by personal laws. What I personally believe is that there cannot be a distinction between a male, female, or the third gender. It does not matter what gender you are, it does not matter where you are married to, it does not matter what the circumstances are. If your parents want to give you some form of inheritance, then there shouldn't be any legal hurdle to it. It does not matter from what gender you come from.
Okay. What are the major schemes that has been initiated by the government in the recent past for the economic upliftment of the people?
Sir,
and what are the challenges of implementation?
Sir, one thing is the PM Kisan. I think it covers a lot of people who really require some form of wherewithal to start their life. So I think PM Kisan is one this thing. The problem there is the identification of beneficiary and leakage of beneficiaries. So these are the issues. Then the other program is the PM Ujjwala, where the free LPG connection is given. So the problem there is that the free LPG connection is given, but how much of them can afford to buy the next cylinder? And then there is always this contentious issue on subsidies. But the positive outcome of it is that we are now doing it through direct beneficiary transfer through digital means. So we know if we want, we can collect the data, we can identify the issues, we can plug it, sir. This is what I think.
So what do you understand by fiscal discipline? In the recent past, there has been a lot of discussions on that matter.
Sir, as far as the public
from the state point of view, from the public policy point of view.
Sir, as far as the public exchequer is concerned, especially that of the state, the resources that are available with them are limited. Yet there is a lot of developmental activity that should go on, and there is we have a system where we are more focused on human resource management or human resource development. So there is a mismatch between that. What we require is that as far as fiscal discipline is concerned, there should be a very clear policy regarding how much more we can get, how much we already have, and what are the areas we should invest, and how we can give these money back. So when these two sides do not correlate with each other, that is where we call it there has been some form of fiscal indiscipline.
See, what are the when Kerala has a reputation of not promoting entrepreneurship, or we find that the industries or the business community is not focusing its activities in our state,
Yes.
in the state of Kerala.
Yes, sir.
So what are the political reasons for that? What are the economic reasons for that, or whether it is big absence of natural resources that is hampering the investments? So if so, and if you are in charge of the developmental activities of the state at some point of time, what would be your initiatives?
Sir, as far as the availability of natural resources is concerned, it is limited for every community, and Kerala is not an exception to that. The thing is that we require the ability to manage it appropriately. As far as the political reasons are concerned, there is obviously trade unionism in Kerala. So, most of the entrepreneurs see that in a bad light. The problem with trade unionism in Kerala is that trade unionism as such is not bad, but the problem with trade unionism in Kerala is that it is more of privilege. It is more of the entitlements rather than your duties. So, that is the problem with trade unionism. Far as the economic concerns of the state is concerned, it is true that public investment in the state is limited because of its reduced fiscal space. What we require is more of private investment. With a lot of expatriates from Kerala population across all over the world, it would not be a problem if we have the proper policies in place. Now, as far as managing all these are concerned, sir, I think there cannot be a straitjacket solution to it. What we require is that we require to build an interface with the people who are willing to invest in the state, to identify their problem and then see what we can do about it. I think an objective assessment was given by the Ease of Doing Business, where Kerala has climbed in a lot of places compared to the previous edition. But a lot of issues like the time it takes for a establishment to get a registration number, all these things have been come into the attention, and that requires a solution as far as policy is concerned. So, if I am given if I am put in charge of that, I will think about in those terms.
Are you interested? What is your area of interest in sports and general activity other than playing with the pet?
Sir, in sports as such,
Yeah.
sir, I have very limited exposure to sports, but I play chess with my father.
Okay.
He is a good chess player,
Great.
so I play chess with my father.
That you are not mentioned. That is a area
Sir,
of
it's not something that I undertake in a very regular fashion. So,
okay. Okay.
Doctor, we have been hearing of this narrative on vaccine autonomy. Tell me the post-COVID scenario. What's been the healthy side of the story in terms of vaccine autonomy from India's perspective, and what promise it holds, and what kind of challenges you can expect from Pfizer and the global giants?
so the problem with vaccine autonomy is that there is a building of perception regarding if this particular autonomy is good for the society or bad for the society. Now, being a very individualistic and very liberal nation, especially with respect to Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, we cannot force anyone to take vaccine simply because it is beneficial. What we can do is that we have to give them education regarding why taking a vaccination is necessary, and then ask them to take an informed decision. In today's society, with the UNICEF itself mentioning misinformation as a next pandemic, the problem is that people do not have the right information to take this informed decision. So, the state should more focus upon giving the people the right information. This is what I think. And as far as the post-COVID scenario is concerned, as I have just told, the JN1 strain is not a variant of concern as far as the Indian scenario is concerned, simply because the people are vaccinated and there is herd immunity within the nation. That is why we can, for the time being, we can set it aside. So, I think we are putting more focus on the good side of vaccination. Now, from the problem with Pfizer and the other multinational giants is that they would always stand against it because they ultimately they are business people, and they view it in the lens, in the perspective of a businessman also. So there might be lobbying against vaccine autonomy also, but at the end it's about giving the right information and letting the individual take the right decisions.
Okay, since you are interested in policy area, let's quickly jump from medicine to India's manufacturing capabilities. Do you foresee India as a manufacturing powerhouse? Is it possible? Or your own homestead, Kerala, can it become a manufacturing base? And if so, what are the areas that hold promise?
Sir, I think as far as manufacturing is concerned, definitely nothing is impossible. For a state to script a turnaround, it is not an impossible thing, and we see it every day. So, manufacturing holds very good promise in Kerala. There is a focus on knowledge economy, that is true. As far as if I am into this public administration, I would focus is on creating institutions where research can translate into patents, because we are an economy that is focusing on the knowledge sector. We have the wherewithal, we have people with the knowledge to create commodities, but we are not translating it into patents. So, I would focus more on that area. In fact,
what is the percentage of your total working expenses that go into R&D in the health sector?
Sir, I am unable to comment on the health sector alone, but what I do know is that it is not much compared to other nations. Sir. For example,
so have we built up a healthy system in terms of, as you say, an innovative ecosystem which you are aspiring for? Don't you think it's more aspirational? Is it realistic?
Sir, it is definitely aspirational. Only without aspiration we cannot reach anywhere. So, it is definitely aspirational.
But are we looking at radical innovations, or are we looking at path-breaking radical innovations, or are we looking at cutting the frills and looking at frugal innovations?
Sir, I think we are looking more towards radical innovation, and we have come up with a lot also, sir, in that sense.
In what sense?
For example, we can take the Chandrayaan 3, we can take the XPOSAT mission. We are the first amongst a few countries. So, we are definitely looking at very radical innovations. The problem is that if we are translating it into patents and being able to commodify it.
Do you mean to say that we are lacking the agility to convert those ideas into action? Or?
For now, sir, yes, I would say that.
So, what will you, if you were made a medical entrepreneur, where will your interests lie?
Regarding finding
converting innovation to action.
Sir, I think we have, being a very strong pharma oriented country, I think we have a lot of potential regarding research and development for finding new drugs. But the problem is that we are not having the wherewithal to translate it into clinical trials, produce it and market it. That is where I would focus, sir. Recently, with the success story of the PLI scheme, we have increased the amount of API, active pharma ingredients, from 14 to around 35. I would take it, I would want to move it more further and focus on research and development, and also bring women into research and development, because they very specifically understand what are their own needs. With a country with less than 0.2% in the total workforce of research and development team, I mean women orientation, I don't think, sir, that is a very positive thing, and we have to look towards increasing women's participation in STEM subjects. Together, I think as far as healthcare is concerned, the pharma sector can provide a lot into this.
Quickly moving on, what are your thoughts on an integrated holistic system of healthcare? Integrating the other streams, the alternative streams. For instance, I read last week for lymphedema, there was a very, very successful example at Kasaragod where a person's research finds global mention, yes, attained global recognition of sorts, approved by NHS also.
Yes, sir.
So, there is a divided opinion over alternative streams, yes, and their influences.
Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts on that?
Sir, my thought is that this division is being made up because of a perception that the English medicine is more research oriented, and I don't think that is true. I'll give a very small example, sir. When I was working, we gave capsicum extract for dengue. Now, Pfizer company is starting to market this capsicum as a capsule that can be taken once in a day for increasing platelet count in dengue. The root of that particular product is in Ayurveda. And there are a lot of research that is happening in lifestyle regarding how effective alternate systems of medicine can be. Most of us doctors in India, we are turning our head towards that and we are trying to create this divide. But the reality is that we ourselves are practicing it. So I think we require to educate the people that alternate forms of medicine are equally effective provided they are peer reviewed, controlled studies are happening and their benefits have been proven.
Quick thought on health tourism. If you are made tourism director, how would you take care of health tourism in Kerala?
Sir, health tourism is mainly focusing on integrated branches of medicine, and we are also finding a lot of people who are coming to Kerala because of our very good healthcare system and cheaply available diagnostics and treatment. So, as far as I am concerned, if I am given the charge of promoting it, I would do
But we are distancing ourselves from neighbors. Maldives used to give us regular supply.
yes, sir. Sir,
Now, do you reckon it's possible any longer?
Sir, I think regarding the diplomatic spat between India and Maldives, it is only temporary and things will settle down, is what I think.
Okay, quickly back to the.
Sir, so I think, sir, we have to increase our reach of the market, the reach towards people. For example, we don't have much visitors coming in from the Africa. And there they have a lot of disease, the treatments are very costly and it is not available. So I think we have to increase the geographical reach of our tourism, medical tourism sector, and it is going to bode very well for the country overall.
Just one question.
Please.
Have you heard of the Indira Gandhi point?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
Sir, I think it is the southernmost point of India.
Okay, at one point of time. What is Darwin's point?
I'm sorry, sir, I do not know that.
Something to do with medical science. So
I'll
it's okay.
definitely read it,
Yeah.
sir.
You are aware historically that disease has been used as a weapon
Yes, sir.
in conflict situations. And there is a biological weapons convention.
Yes, sir.
Is it legitimate for countries to pursue use of disease as a weapon? And what is the reality as far as you know?
Sir, as far as an Indian, the blanket answer would be no. The blanket answer would be no.
No.
We cannot weaponize disease. In fact, India is the first country under the convention to completely free its arsenal of any type of biological weapons. So, my blanket answer would be a no, because human suffering cannot be weaponized. In fact, every day, every moment, the world is going towards ensuring that we are having a world free of human conflicts, free of human disease, suffering. So, I don't think it is the right aspect to do it, sir.
So India should not do it.
No country should do it, sir.
No, but there are countries,
Yes,
several countries, including perhaps India, which continue to engage in such research and work. The excuse used very often is, I have to develop countermeasures. In case somebody else applies disease as a weapon against me. So I must do research.
Yes.
There's even justification for keeping smallpox samples for fear that some terrorist organization may unleash it on the world.
Yes.
And we must therefore have countermeasures ready to deal with such a situation.
Yes, sir.
How do you see that being fitting into your logic?
Sir, I think it is an argument only for the argument's sake, because recently we have had this bomb blast in the laboratory in Russia that actually garnered this smallpox virus. So what happened is that it did not ultimately turn out into a public health emergency, because that virus has been inactivated after being passed after using scientific methods. So if we want to use research, then we can do it by inactivating these microorganisms or inactivating these so-called biological weapons, and you can do research. So I think, sir, the this research argument is mainly an argument only for an argument's sake, sir. In fact, what we have to do is we have to build up mechanisms, institutional mechanisms like the Convention on Biological Weapons, that has provisions where we can go and check and ensure that such research is safe for the world, sir.
Are you aware that there was discussion for a biological weapons protocol which would have done exactly what you have just mentioned?
Yes, sir.
Where every BL4 facility,
Yes, sir.
BL3, BL4 facility
Yes,
would be subject to inspections
Yes, sir.
in order to offer transparency. But this was sabotaged by USA when the negotiations were fairly advanced. And do you think what happened in Wuhan could be related to research in certain areas, possibly in collaboration with USA? And accidents can happen, like you just mentioned the Russian case.
Yes, sir.
It's not necessary that it was deliberately let out, but perhaps some accident happened or leakage happened before they were prepared with countermeasures, because
Yes,
that is the essence of working in this field. So do you think it's just a conspiracy theory, or is it something that originated in the wet markets of Wuhan?
Sir, a microorganism growing as an pandemic or an epidemic, it is not the first time that it has origins from China. We have the cholera, which also began its journey from China. So it may not be with that particular allegation may not be completely without substance, but in order to put it in clear terms, there must be some objective evidence to it. So far, there is a lack of objective evidence to point fingers at this research facility in Wuhan. It might be because they are not a very transparent nation, they are not willing to share information. But to make an allegation as important or as serious as that requires some form of evidence. And so far, in this evolving story, we have a lack of evidence. So I don't think it is now the right time to point our fingers at China. Yes, Wuhan is a place where there is a constant and very overlapping interface between humans, animals and microorganisms. As far as epidemiology is concerned, that environment is very ripe for such a transmission, but I think it requires more studies before pointing our fingers, sir.
You gave an argument against India doing these things for moral reasons. India should not do it and so. Are you aware that when the Chemical Weapons Convention was accepted, India declared that it already had stocks of chemical weapons and it had to be destroyed?
Yes.
And this was not known till then. So are we really subjected by moral considerations in working in such fields?
Sir, as far as the military is concerned, a transparent arsenal may not be a good thing for a country. The fact is that we came forward to declare it and to destroy it. That itself is a very positive sign. I think I think all nations must emulate our example, sir. If they have it, there is no problem in disclosing it, so that we can ensure that we have a supervised control over how they are used, eliminated also. So I think in that sense it was a positive step, sir.
Thank you. So your feedback.
Dr. Issac Jose, you are very good.
Thank you.
You are very good. you are very logical and very calm and collected. Your articulation is good, so you are an extremely good candidate. One or two things in the discussion I felt. I thought on to begin with, when Sir asked about doctors joining civil service, I thought you were a bit defensive and trying to aggressively justify. See, the UPSC system allows all kind of people. I am an engineer, you are a doctor, somebody else is something, provides. So people with a divergent backgrounds entering the civil service, there is some utility. It adds the pool of this thing. Other than that, going particularly aggressively into, I thought maybe when you reply you can, I don't know whether that much was, that only invited me, provoked me to ask, then why not we have so many. Suppose what happens if you end up in some other service, there are so many issues. So that I felt, because you are so good otherwise logically, and you have a scientific approach to issues. That's all. Then another thing I thought, when there was a question about is it not aspirational? You said yes, but then you were a little bit irreverential, because in the board there, North Indians they are used to, when if you reply you can see. That may not be appreciated. I mean, you can have your view, which is logical, sound also, but you can't be appearing to be giving an impression that question itself is irrelevant like that. Because you are so good only I am telling all these things. Then maybe your hobby, when you said it, when you described the pet also a part of the family.
Yes.
I mean, I was not very clear.
Yes, yes.
And your
Small dog.
Yeah. Hobbies are personal things, but it is too personal and doesn't have any social or other orientation. So it can be a matter of question. There may be, dog lovers are very passionate, which I am not. No, but I am not against. I am not against also. But so sometimes it can invite some questions. This way or that way. But including it in the family, I don't know whether it is. It can invite a lot of ethical questions also. When it comes to, say, recently it came from Ukraine, I think, for evacuation.
Yes,
a dog, it became a choice between a dog and
and
a human. So those kind of questions can come. That's all. But you are good. You are comfortable, and the way you answer questions were like when Sir was asking about some developmental thing, it was very structured and logical, and that's where you score. Few things I don't know, that doesn't matter. You are not expected to know everything. Okay, that's all. All the best.
So in this interview, so you have the basic qualities of being a civil servant, from the knowledge, presentation skills, concept, vision point of view. Fantastically good. But now what happened in this interview was that most of the questions and interaction was on your areas of strength.
Yes, sir.
On areas of subjects in which you are very comfortable.
Yes.
But in the actual interview, it can be more on economics, it can be more on trade, it can be more on international relationship, it can be more on other socio-economic situation that is happening in India and abroad. So on those things, I think you need to be really, I mean, we did not test it out on this. The opportunity did not that much come through. So you have to be prepared on that. Because with your type of communication skill and analytical skills, if you learn a subject, you have the extraordinary gift to present it well. So leverage on that, and that will be the cutting edge, I think. Cutting edge for you. All the best, and because you are almost a near perfect demeanor and body language and expression of the face and contact and analytical communication. All those things almost near perfect. But just final things you can. What you need to do is that increase the depth of knowledge base, update the likely areas of interest that is likely to be asked, and do extraordinary work. All the best.
Yeah, I agree with what Mr. Ajith mentioned, because you have taken that the medical science route. Even your optional was medical science. The entire interview probably veered around the medical science related policy, but going into an expansive mode, probably the interview can take off in a a different direction, as sir put it, starting right from preparing delicious and wholesome dishes. Maybe your culinary skills would be put to graver test than your professional medical skills or policy formulation skills. So I don't know, you may go into areas like food fortification and maybe with something related, it can take off in different, always expect the unexpected.
Yes,
So
sir.
probably the preparation also can focus on those areas, likely areas where it could be current affairs,
Food security,
food security,
public distribution.
or even on ethical choices, let's say, or right, as we, something as probably would appear mundane, but still relaxing with your pets. What species of dog do you
Pug.
have?
Pug.
Pug. Great. PFA,
Animal rights.
animal rights, human rights versus animal rights.
Stray dog problems.
Stray dog
Stray
menace.
dog, Kerala, it's
Stray
a
dog
big problem.
menace. It can go into any direction.
Medical claim, medical insurance for pets.
Yes.
All those things are
The
there.
insurance sector.
Insurance. It's a fascinating,
Healthcare.
fascinating topic.
Yes.
So from your this DAF, I think there can be dimensions on which you can spread out,
Multiple
especially
dimensions.
on multiple. So those areas you can, but focus also on the core economic indices, definitions, issues.
See, they
prices
say
and
par score is something between 160 to 170 is 175. I'm sure, given your kind of stature, the kind of responses you have given, you should be looking at a stellar performance.
200
Something
plus.
beyond the 200 plus stage, in my estimate. I think our board members may agree to that.
All the best.
All the best.
This is your fourth attempt,
Yes, sir. My fourth attempt, my second interview.
second interview.
What
How
was
much
Did
your
your last interview go?
189.
189?
189.
So there you are.
No, basically, you are very calm and your approach is very logical, objective. That comes by training over a period of time, and that will stand you in good stead.
What were the areas of
Sir,
discussions?
during my first interview, actually, it was not DAF based. They asked me about water as a resource and its distribution, about bank recapitalization, and post-independent achievements of India,
India.
and healthcare in India
Healthcare.
also.
Yeah, healthcare came
But 189 is
quite
really
good.
exceptional.
above average.
So there's no doubt that you will do very well in the interview. And we wish you all the best.
How well did the optional go? The mains?
Sir, I actually lost it by 4 marks.
4. So this time,
Hopefully.
full steam ahead. Doctor.
We wish you all
Okay, all the best.
Take your mic.
Amrita IAS Academy.